Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Myers from Ishmael Interactive. And today in our speaker series, we are joined by Rachel Elnar. My pronouns are he, him. I am a heavyset Latino man with a very graying beard these days. Rachel, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're here.
Yeah. My name is Rachel Elnar. My pronouns are she, her. I am a relatively small Asian woman in her 50s, and also just formerly a senior creative producer at Adobe, and have been a events community producer person for a very long time, not only for companies, but also for communities. Yeah. And so I'm here just to chit chat about talking about communities.
Excellent. So, as they say, let's begin at the beginning.
Okay.
Because for starters, I don't really know what a creative director did until I researched you. But it's the community building, Rachel, that I find fascinating and that I want to talk more. I went to your site Together by Design, read through all of it. We'll put a link in the information that we send out to people. But yeah, begin at the beginning. When did you find out community was the thing? What was the skill, the place, the setting? How did
Yeah.
that come about as your calling?
Yeah. Well, in 2001, I started like way back. I'm not going to start when I was born, but I'll start with like when I started this design studio in downtown Los Angeles with my late husband, Michael Stinson. We really were trying to figure out how to get more work. Like most design firms are trying to do that, trying to figure out how do you get more people, how do you get more known, how do you get more bids, projects. And I found out like if you're part of this community, if you're part of the design community, people know you, people refer you, they have you top of mind. So I joined AIGA just to get part of the design community. And I learned how to hold events because events was the main revenue driver for AIGA, which is the professional design community. And so I realized then that the communities were so different from chapter to chapter. AIGA is a national organization with each chapter being in many different states, major metropolitan cities, and each one had different vibes or different feelings or different locales, different communities in general. And so when we started to teach typography, going to many different chapters, you could just tell. I mean, whole AIGA Honolulu was totally different than AIGA Las Vegas, amazingly enough, right?
Right, right. So to peel back the onion a little about what led to this conversation, I was talking to our CEO, Anna Monroe, and one of the things that I love to find when I'm looking out for a speaker series is a topic where there are a lot of people faking it and somebody who does it with discipline.
Okay.
Because I, from the government side myself, there are a lot of communities of practice. There are a lot of communities of this, that, and the other. And we're going to have a monthly phone call and a what did you like, what did you not like survey and call it a day. That's community. You're very disciplined with this. You have it down to a science. Literally, I saw psychology terms in your
Yes.
article.
Right.
How do you bring the discipline to this? What did that look like? Did you have the discipline and find the calling, or did you find the calling and research a way to make a system out of it?
I think it was mostly through observation, Aaron. I think that if you think about how to get people coming back. Okay, so when you're doing events, it's such a slog. It's so difficult to get people to register and come out. I mean, you're
Yeah.
promoting, promoting, promoting. How do you get people to really engage, come out, and then come out for the next one? And I realized it was community, but what else is behind community? Like, what is it about the gathering, the people? that locale, that flavor that encourages people to come back out. There's a lot of psychology to it. I mean, engagement is all about psychology. Why do people reach out and um, turn their ideas into action? Like what makes them behave the way they do? And yeah, it is about psychology. So the way that I like to set up my virtual events has a lot of psychology to it. Like, why are we can't just show up and go on air and just expect people to show up, right? There has to be some sort of either surprise and delight. There has to be rewards. There has to be, other ways of getting people to show up. And then they get hooked on that trust. And that's how you build trust over time.
So that moment where you have them hooked, that showing up, it's showing up again. That is the fascinating point because that's the secret sauce. Getting them to show up for the second, third, fourth time, because then you have a sustainable community. Is there a behavior, a sign, a signal, a thing people say where you say to yourself, "I got him. I'm gonna see him again," or do you just never know?
You don't know, which is why you have to use in anything in user experience, you have to keep testing, you have to keep iterating and finding out what the community really likes. I mean, yes, humans do act on psychological principles, but not everybody is the same.
Yeah.
And of course, each community is different too. And so students might be more hungry and they want to show up because they want to get alignment or they want to be showcased or they want to be differentiated. They want to have job opportunities where professionals, longstanding professionals may not that may not be so hungry. So they don't really care if they're showing up and showcasing their work. Maybe they're more interested in getting more specific value, takeaways, actionable insights, whatnot. So you have to try different things. And then, of course, change your events per your specific community or audience.
Okay. This makes a lot of sense because again, Together by Design, I went there, I subscribed, I got the survey.
Got it. Yeah.
So you are analyzing the community and shaping the events or the interactions around the people you have just as much as you are putting out something with intention and hoping to snag the right people. It's kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot.
The what you subscribed to was the newsletter for sure.
Yes.
Um, at Adobe, we had changing priorities and initiatives all the time. They change because the market is super volatile. The design industry, as you know it, changes every 6 months, maybe even less now with AI. And of course, the job market is just crazy now, right? So
Right.
people are really looking for different things. At Adobe, we were trying to figure out how do we get decision makers? How do you find users per se, those who have their hands on the product? How do you get them to um, tell their how do you get them to tell their bosses, hey, we really like this tool, this workflow works for best for us. So we were always changing our programming. We were changing our structure of the events in order to appeal to those specific audiences because our audience kept changing all the time.
That sounds like a ton of work.
It is.
Oh my God. I suppose part of it is Adobe has the machine and the mechanism to do a lot of market intelligence all at once. So you can make those micro adjustments. Now,
Yeah.
if you're somebody who's probably listening to this and you're probably a small shop, 10 people or less, what is your philosophy on this is enough information to change versus I can't be changing all the time or I don't know what sticks? How do you find that happy balance?
Well, I think the best way to go about this is just to get to know who your audience is. Um, because Adobe is such a large enterprise, they have many different audiences and many different priorities at any one time because of their 20 plus portfolio of products, right? So if you're a small team, small business, you typically have maybe one or two products, one priority, perhaps one initiative or a couple campaigns. Make sure that they are all very similar and you're really just appealing to one audience. I would say to spend much more time in really talking to one audience and then iterating after each event. So at Adobe, we did one event per week. So we had a lot of we had many chances to keep iterating. You might want to do one per month or two a month or whatnot. You want to just keep iterating. And so you'll see what is improving and affects your outcomes or your analytics.
Awesome. Another thing that captured me and that I really resonated with, and as I mentioned, signing up for the newsletter, reading the articles, all that stuff, is you wrote in about co-creative communities and how at that point everybody is contributing something that adds to everybody else's value. I'm sort of paraphrasing here, but I think it's also because of something with the speaker series. If I have somebody here I want to be a fan of, I want to get something out of what they make and be supportive of what they do, what they're adding to the community. Do you have anything in mind, examples in mind, people from communities that you've been a part of or run where you're just a particular fan of their work? Just you sit back, you see what they do, and you say, that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of that. When I used to run the Creative Jams 7 years ago at Adobe, they were only with students. So students who are university students, college students, and just seeing them change and get jobs and progress. If they were working on projects or if they were celebrating they got a new role, definitely I noticed other students were also in the jam from other colleges promoting that, saying thank you, whatnot. And that's the way to do it, right? Like you admire someone, best thing to do is to engage, pat them on the back, and also promote what they're doing. And that's to me the best way to do community is to really support each other.
Yeah, yeah. I find, and it's something I tell our CEO Anna all the time, is if you are a genuine fan of somebody's work, most people want to talk about how cool they are.
Right.
It's a really easy lead it. And one of the things I love about sort of this work, especially when we're getting into design and stuff like that, is you run into a lot of people who pull inspiration from crazy areas, just
Okay.
totally unexpected places. So, for example, we've done some visualizations for website performances where I got inspired by baseball and looking at how people project out player value. I'm a baseball nut. I'm a nerd about it. It's just something I do. What are some of the places where you as a person find inspiration for your work?
Oh, I don't know if I can pinpoint something specific,
That's fun.
but but one thing that I am always inspired by in terms of our process in producing events and creating community, I like to use a metaphor, the restaurant, front of house, back of house.
Yes.
For a long time, I was a manager at quite a few restaurants in the area, fine dining and also casual dining. And I always like to think of myself as friend of the house. So the main host or maitre d' or the server, someone who's bringing out the food, thinking about the menu as being the registration form and making sure that what you're serving matches up with the expectations are on that menu. And then David and some of our production team at Adobe, they would be back of the house, making sure that we can fulfill and that even if we get a full house, that the experience is just as smooth for those who are guests as, as much as possible. And so trying to bring in those principles of service as a hospitality as an act of service per se, basically like really creating not an event that just says, here, I'm going to force feed you things and please buy from me, right? Because a lot of webinars are like
It's
that.
very a thing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
agree.
So we want to make sure that because you took an hour of your time, of your very busy day, that you showed up here, we want to service you. And so that's the way I think of how we do. And that's what helps me um, iterate, get better, because I always think of that hospitality model.
I like that. My older sister used to run a restaurant in Florida. And your analogy makes a lot of sense to me because I always used to joke with her that by the time the person shows up the third time, she was also front of the house. She knows the name of their grandchildren.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that is truly a role all about market intelligence and getting to talk to people and know their stories. So,
Yeah. And in communities, you know that.
yeah,
I mean, in digital events, if you show up to things over and over and over, you see the same people show up and like, hey, I see you,
yes,
great. It's great to see you here, whatnot. And that's the thing is that you come, it's like Cheers, right? Everybody knows your name. That's how you feel like it's a home. And so, yes, I think that would be the goal.
awesome. So this is a very good place to go and to start learning more about these mindsets and the storytelling. But you've also been doing this for a long time at a very high level.
Mm.
You're high level professional and you've talked about market change. Is there a place you see the market or the art of doing this going in the near future?
Well, that's that's hard to say.
Of course.
Okay,
It's all
so
speculation.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
speculation. Honestly, I didn't think too much about digital events before the pandemic. And of course,
Mm.
when the pandemic hit, everyone
Yeah.
became a digital event or a webinar or a a virtual meeting superstar. Everyone started worrying about what's in their background and their light. Everyone has these little ring lights and whatnot.
Right.
Um, I think because that everybody is used to live streaming from their house, I guess is the only way to say that, is that getting people to, I think engagement is going to be the new frontier, is getting people to get their hands on the product or try things out. Or, I mean, you see a lot of live streams on Amazon, right? People are actually using the product in order to sell. That is different. Getting people to, um, have a wine class where everybody has the pieces or chocolate tasting together, that combination of physical and virtual experience together, I think that is where we're going.
Awesome. I do like that as an answer. But it also sort of focuses in on, and I'm going towards when you say chocolate tasting or wine tasting,
Yeah.
because it's very participatory, very engaged, but there's still a basic center to that, telling a story that does not change no matter where you are,
Right.
live or not live. Like it's sort of, you mentioned AI, and I always tell people with AI, you still have to know that if you're going to do data analysis with AI. You still have to know what a mean is.
Right.
So there's these fundamental principles that people still have to get, even if they have the fancy tool. Um, that's
Yeah,
reassuring to me.
I think AI is all about tools. And as long as you know how to creative direct and you know how to art direct and you know how to make those decisions at the top, then you can tell AI as your assistant to do what you need to do. But you're the final call, right? You're the one who makes the final cut, no
Yeah.
matter what it is. Just don't let AI do it all for you. And if you do events, I mean, especially if they have a physical proponent, then I think that we're safe from AI. God, those might be my last words.
I mean, I also like to tell people the big tool with AI, the big thing with AI is more people will be doing it true, but also more people will be doing it poorly.
Right.
So if it's an accelerator, it's not a quality enhancer.
Hmm.
So if
I
you're
like
good
that.
at what you do, that you're just standing out that much more. Uh, but
I
again,
like
these are the stories I tell myself so I can sleep at night. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Listen, so we've talked about sort of the decision point and when you know you have somebody, you really don't, you have to keep practicing. Is there a point at which you know an aha moment where you know you have not a person but a community at large, where you say,
Is
is it
there an
in the
aha moment?
state itself,
Yeah. Yeah.
or is it
Um,
always at risk?
I think it's always at risk, but I also don't believe in having one person constantly lead it. There has to be a point where you step out, even just for a little bit, and you see the activity going. And once you see that, you know we'll be okay. But I don't think you can step away from it 100%. I think that the mission, the person, the personality, or the brand still needs to be involved some way, shape, or form. um there has been communities that are so strong that they can live away from the main organization or the main brand, but it doesn't happen often. There still has to be a facilitator, an aggregator, something that brings them together, a tool, some sort of communication channel in order to keep people communicating.
But when you could step back for a week and it doesn't go off the rails, you're doing good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
For
like that.
sure.
Okay.
For sure. Go take a
Um,
vacation for a couple weeks and then come back and see what happened. Or,
oh,
you can
those are
always
my
delegate.
goals.
You can always delegate and just say,
True.
we're going to have these people from the community t- develop smaller events or have smaller meetings. Go for it. And then we'll get back together in the month and see where you are. So, delegation is also helpful.
I like that. I do like that a lot. And it sort of seems that any goal where you're trying to build a sustainable model, the idea should be to at least partially work your way out of a job,
Yes.
free you up to do new things.
Yes.
So that is delightful. So a lot of the people who listen to this are going to be new to the art. They might be putting together their first group of people.
Mm.
Is there a top line rule, top line lesson, takeaway you would give them? If nothing else, remember X.
Yeah, just do it. Okay, so I'll tell you a story. I don't know if Anna wants me to tell this story, but I will tell it to you anyhow.
Delightful.
So I met Anna through it was, yeah, it was an AIJ gathering where I was her mentor. She was my mentee, and we worked on a project together, based on her goals. And what we ended up, the project was to be is to have a gathering and for her to invite people together into a dinner and just have a discussion. And that was sort of the end goal. It was to help her get out there, get her ideas out there, work on something more in public and get out on social media. So we had small little baby steps on social media, doing things on Twitter at the time and whatnot. She did a great job. I mean, the dinner was beautiful. It was lovely to get everyone together, but she did postpone a couple times, right? Like at any time you have to do something that you don't want to do or is not something you feel
Yeah.
comfortable with, you end up postponing. But yeah, so my answer is always just do it. Just try it. Get a couple of people together. Just create a small gathering and then you can grow from there. So I love iteration and I love just growing little by little and keep doing it over and over. And as we call it exposure therapy. As long as you expose yourself to the uncomfortable feeling enough, you will feel comfortable and then you can grow from there.
Yeah, I do like that. You just got to make stuff.
Just got to do it. Just got to
Yeah.
do it.
Dinner's hard too because everybody has an idea of what that should look like. So
Right.
dealing with expectations.
Right.
It's a good challenge. I do enjoy that.
And personalities. Oh, and by the way, it's her birthday today, is it not?
Yes,
Happy birthday,
it
Anna.
is. Awesome. Okay, do you have any questions or any topics you'd like to ask us? two-way deal.
Um, yeah, I guess I'll ask you about the community you guys are building. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, that would be excellent. So Ishmael Interactive is a design firm, human-centered design. It is sort of taking a scientific approach to this art. Once again, we have a lot of people in the area who are not fully as disciplined as we would like to see. So we're going to solve our own problem.
Ah, got it.
This was raised out of federal government as a group of people who had worked on fixing digital property and then found ourselves in the private market and just said, this value plays everywhere. So let's just go for it. And we do a lot of focus at trying to instill that art and that discipline with people who have needs in their mid career professionals, new career professionals, people who might not have heard of design or taken the scientific measurement courses when they were in undergrad, for example. If I had known this stuff existed in undergrad, I probably would have been a professional in it. The human centered design and stuff like that were not words back then.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So it's a bit of trying to be the person I wish I had that many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so helpful, HCD for sure. Because it recognizes audiences and communities that didn't have a voice before.
Yes.
And I feel like even the aging community, there are many communities that just don't have a voice in not only how products are created, but also in marketing and in just in anything that we are talking about in the general zeitgeist, in the communication, in the conversation these days. Those people don't have voices. So I love that you guys are doing that. Are there designers who are following along? Are there a lot of people who are asking for more information about human-centered design?
Well, we're just now starting to gain traction. We have our podcast listenership of a few hundred people, the newsletter, the website's being built. So we got a good number, but it's going up every week. Um,
So
it's
my
in the throes
question,
of yes.
so my question, or maybe it's a challenge, is to do a podcast that's live. And I don't know if you've already done it or not, but just try to see who's showing up in the chat over and over and over, and you will see who your community is pretty quickly.
That's a good idea. I like it. And once again, I always research my speaker. I saw everything you've done. I couldn't help but pick your brain for us because there's value there. Got to go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Uh,
Of course.
uh, so at this point in our conversation, I always like to end on what I call the one for fun. The
Okay.
one for fun is a mental bookmark we provide the listeners. It's a goofy question, has nothing to do with what's going on in the conversation, but people tend to remember a podcast if you say, did you hear the one about what's your Mexican food order? Just a weird out of
Got it. Okay.
question.
Heard.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're talking about community, and you've done a lot of work about how community is a strategy, not a vibe. Actual title of one of your articles.
Yeah.
Um, and it got me thinking in the mode of vibe and how sometimes I like to play a song to put me in a mood to do a specific job.
Mm.
So, for example, if I am writing a narrative or a story, I put on Billy Joel, probably Piano Man, because
Okay.
it's a storyteller. Is there a genre or a song you lean on to do a type of activity or a thing? It could be as simple as what's your workout music, for example.
Hmm. I would say if there was a song that helped me got through a task, it would be Business Time by Flight of the Conchords.
Nice.
That helps me write, or if I'm feeling too serious or I'm too stressed, the thing that lightens me up is the story that is told in the song. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, I
That's
love listening to Flight of the Conchords. It
that
lets me
does
know no matter
to my
what music.
company's soul.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. From us here at Ishmael Interactive, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation and we will be in touch again. Thank you.
Thank you.